I might have to hide the screen here for a little bit. So let's see how that works out. I will be right back. I don't know. Why is YouTube and Google so retarded? That's like really annoying. Super duper incredibly annoying. It's stupid. Why would they do this? Who designed this? Okay, hang on. I think I may have found a workaround. If I go here, I switch account to here, and then from here I will sign out. Okay. Now what if I can remove this account? Yes, remove that. Okay. Now log into this account. Okay, password is this one. Ah, jeez. Why does YouTube have to be retarded? I might have to relog into Discord too, so give me a second while I continue to try to sort out all of the broken stuff. I don't know why. Why is everything retarded these days? Why is nothing cool? Why does everything suck? YouTube seems to be broken. Discord seems to be broken. My upload, my ISP, my internet all seem to be broken. This country is going down a very, very bad path. To re-log into Discord? Oh my goodness. Why? Why? I am on a righteous path against YouTube and Discord. Why did I gotta do this? Okay, do Discord username, Discord password. Oh hey, add the cat watches. When did you get in here? I gotta do my fucking Discord 2-factor. Discord 2-factor is under this one, I think. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now YouTube, not Discord says that I'm streaming. Okay, so that's good. Oh my god, so frustrating. Oh, why the fuck did they gotta do this to me? This makes me very angry. Angry sounds. Discord was causing Discord, yes it was. Okay, so okay, so I am only streaming on YouTube right now. I suspect that the issue is that my ISP does not like it when I stream 1080p to 2 different services. I am not downscaling to 720p, I am at 1080p. I have been perfectly fine on YouTube for about 10 minutes now. There is no video downscaling and there is no streaming rescale either. But I am at 4000 kilobits per second. So I might have to just only do YouTube for a little bit for the time being. Is Jeff Bezos being mean? Is it because we made fun of cringe of powers? It could be, yeah, that could be why. I could either be being targeted because of my criticism of Jeff Bezos and Amazon and Rings of Power, or I could also just be I could be being targeted by people who do not want me to spread the truth and knowledge and information about the big feet and other such creatures. I don't know, there's a couple other enemies I'm pretty sure I could think of. Okay, so for the time being, I'm going to just stream here on YouTube. Maybe later I will downscale to 720p and see if that works on both YouTube and Twitch. But for now, we'll just do this. Okay, so if you or a family member have Twitch Prime, you can subscribe on Twitch. And that will be free monies that you are already paying to Amazon. And I will get some of that. So if you have fun watching the streams, You have a couple bucks to give. Do that for free with your Amazon Prime you already have, or your other donos would be greatly appreciated so that I can get better internet. Because apparently I live in a third world country called America, where I cannot stream patches. No, patches. Don't jump up there, buddy. You're not allowed up there, buddy. No, patches. Come here. Come here. Look. Look what I have. I have the Kuromi. It's the Kuromi. Come here. It's the Kuromis. Where's she going? Where's she going? Where's the Kuromis going? Where'd she go? Is she hiding? Where'd she go? Where'd she go? Maybe Jeff Bezos is secretly a big feat. He could be, yeah. He could be siphoning a whole bunch of monies from people. Maybe that's why he's... that's why he's able to have such a massive company. He scares people out of the woods and then he steals their guns and sells them. So it could be that. I guess if Patches is here, I can't really fold the laundries now, can I? Oh, she's leaving. She's a leavings. It's the Kuromis. Me is the evil Kuromis. Yup. Bunk. Yup. Bunk. Oh, she's running. She's running. She's running. Where'd she go? I guess I can't do the laundry after all then. Unlucky. Are you gonna sit here or are you gonna go lay down? What are you gonna do? Can I do the laundry? Okay, here, you play with Kuromi's over there. You have fun with Kuromi. Yeah, Kuromi is fighting the big boss. The big boss Patches. I guess I don't have to fold this one. So, what have you been up to at the Cat Watches? Hopefully you haven't been having to face the cruel wrath of your internet service provider who wants to stop you from working by limiting your upload, by making you unable to upload your stories or your movies or your pictures that people buy or uploading your 3D renders that you've been working on. Oh no. Oh no. The Patches has eaten the Kuromis. Okay, no, never mind. The Kuromis is here. Okay. I don't know if I want to listen to this one now that I'm doing the laundries with no Patches here. See if I can find something else to listen to. Where is my... Let's see. Ooh, I got a couple thingies here. Okay, let's see. So here's my list of thingies that I can... things that I have laid out for to watch on stream. The internet is being mean to the cat girls. Yeah, I've been struggling. When did I first go live? When did I first go live? Let's see. Okay, so it says here on Discord I first sent the message at 7:30 Central. However, that's not the first stream. The first stream was 2 hours ago. Okay, it's pretty close at 7:14 p.m. But I think by that point I had already been streaming for a few minutes to test the internet. So at 7:14 p.m. I first went live, and then the internet died. And I had to re-go live again in a couple of minutes. About 7:14 to 7:21. I had the internet that went down there the first time, and then the internet died again. When was this message? 7:35. So the internet went down after 7 minutes, and then it went down again after about another 16 minutes. So that was the third stream. And I think right now I'm either at the fourth stream or the fifth stream. But I think this time my bitrate has looked mostly okay. I have only dropped 154 frames, which is 0.2% of my total frames. So I think as long as I only stream to one place, that'll be good. However, streaming to only one place means I am reducing the likelihood of making monies, of people finding me on Twitch, because I'm currently not live on Twitch. I'm only live on YouTube's. So YouTube and Twitch are yet again demonstrating that they hate women's and that they hate cat girls and they hate me. They don't want me to discuss the things I have to discuss, and they don't want me to make money. So I am yet again facing the dilemma of being silenced by the powers that be, because I am speaking truth to power. I am a free speech absolutist, and they do not want me to discuss important topics like religion or philosophy or education or spooky stories or debates or politics or history or fun news and or memes that I have saved up. Jesus. You are super organized. Your stream content list me is impressed. Yeah, I have been wanting to stream some of these things for the past week or stuff, but I have been unable to, either because the internet has been unstable and untrustworthy, um, or also because I have been trying to prepare for my photo shoot for this month, but for other reasons unrelated to the internet being unstable. I have been unable to do that, so I might have to delay that for a little bit. So yeah, some of these topics are probably outdated. They're probably not relevant anymore, but I'll still cover them if it seems like it's worth it. Notice every time you tried to join the stream would be down. It was like painful and tag. Yeah, I think I may have resolved that problem now. So we will see if this stream stays up. Spank the YouTube and Twitches. Yeah. I might either have to get a different ISP who will remain stable and let me stream to both YouTube and Twitch. Or I'll just have to reduce the quality of my stream, the video quality. And maybe then I will be able to actually do what I want to do on here. Okay, so since the patches is no longer here to play with the Kuromis, I'm gonna go. I think I want to start with. Okay, I think I want to start with this one. This one seems cool. Because I just did a Big Feats story, I want to go with this one now. The Failed Masculinity of Gollum. It's 40 minutes, so let's go. Let's go. When did the internet start being a mini head? You mean in general? Because today it's been being a mini head for the past couple of hours. In general, I have not been able to stream to both YouTube and Twitch when I first got here. But then we had a thingy. We had the ISP, the internet service provider, had a thingy going on where we could increase the upload, and I have been using that. That's been working out mostly okay for a little bit. Um, but recently, maybe the past couple of months, I think. Maybe the past couple of months, it's when it sort of stopped being reasonable. It's been as unstable as many people have been in politics. It was pretty fine for quite a while. I don't know why it started being so stupid. Let me check. I think where's channels? Got this. I think most of the streams have been mostly okay. So obviously here today, this stream has been having issues. I think this stream I also had to kill last week. That stream also died because of the internet being stupid. This Mario stream, that one I had to restart the stream again because it died. I think only a few minutes during the third age streams have there been issues. Before that, I think some of these streams had a couple of hiccups. So I guess let's see, maybe 3 months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, most of those streams seemed to be fine. It was only occasionally, like in this instance, 5 months ago, this stream had to die because it was that the upload was being retarded. So most of these other streams, longer than 6 months ago, I think they were okay. Did this stream die? The Arkham Asylum one? I think it did die. So it's been, yeah, the Shrek streams were pretty much perfect. It's just like a flip of the coin, I guess, whether or not it wants to work. I'm pretty sure most of my Pokemon Nuzlocke ones were okay. But yeah, it's been the past couple of months, it seems, that I've had most of the issues. What's up, Arby? What's up, Patches? Let's see if I pull up YouTube's or if I pull up Twitch. This might be my last Twitch subscription here from Emoto earlier today. If I can't stream on Twitch right now because it's being retarded. Where is... Yeah, I've had to restart the stream today 4 different times, and I think this is on YouTube now. This is the 5th time because I'm not currently on Twitch, so it doesn't have that 5th one. So 5 minutes here, and then the stream died, and then 8 minutes, 30 seconds, and the stream died, and then 40 minutes, and then the stream died, and then another 40 minutes, and then the stream died. So yeah, I don't know.
By now,
it's so stupid. Yeah, I restarted. I restarted the Wi-Fi after that most recent stream dieted, and so right now this is the first time I'm streaming again since then. So hopefully that works. But I don't know. I don't know. Seems the internet has been acting up more consistently since the past couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has been. The past couple of weeks when the issue's gotten worse. So I don't know what I can do other than to... I can either reduce the stream resolution to 720p, or I can lower also the bit rate, or I can do both of them, and maybe that would work on Twitch and YouTube still. But I'll try that next time. For now, I'll just only do YouTube's. So I guess then now would be a good time to promote my stuff. So if you want to help me get more better internets, let me see if I can make sure. What about callings to internet peoples? I don't think they care. They're like, they would be like, just use less internet, lol. Okay, so if you want to help me get more better internets, consider tossing over a couple bucks for my stories, my mistakes were made stories, and or my redemption stories, because I think they're pretty kind of cool. If you want to go read those, I put in a whole bunch of time and work into them. I finished writing this in 2015. I started writing it in 2013 and finished writing it 2015. Holy fuck. Oh no. Then this one. Started writing it 2012, finished 2013. I think I started sooner than 2012. I think it was like September of 2012 when I started writing this one. So go read my stories, and then if you feel like you got something out of it, go to the support page. Give me some monies if you feel like I have deserved a couple of bucks, so I can get more better internet and stop living in the third world with third world internet upload speeds. So you can support my stories, you can support my videos, you can support my streams, you can support my pictures, my photo sets. There are a lot of things you could support me for. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on this video. The failed masculinity of Gollum.
I know most of you are probably getting sick of talking about masculinity, much less injecting this conversation into beloved characters where it oftentimes has no business in. Yes, let's talk about what Han Solo can teach us about being a man. Obviously, by his name, we know he's a reference to masturbation. That's why he was a crappy father who left his family for galactic milk. To be honest, I thought this topic had been exhausted a long time ago, which is why I was extremely shocked, flabbergasted, stupefied, back when I had only 60 subscribers, and I saw that my greatest success, and still to this day, was my video on Aragorn's masculinity. I only ever made that video due to a friend's request, and I thought the whole idea was even a little cringe at the time, if I'm being honest. But to this day, 2 years later, we still haven't had enough of this conversation. Hollywood is still trying to destroy it, and not to mention the rise of Andrew Tate and that whole crap show. And I think it's because society itself
That whole
has
crap
no
show.
greater sense of purpose these days, which makes us feel aimless as men.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I believe that most of the issues that we are facing today, most of the issues that we encounter today are due to the fact that a lot of people are lost and a lot of people are aimless, and that is why my internet sucks because our society is crumbling.
Since manhood is defined by purpose, a mission one can fulfill which is tied to what it means to be a man. And a real man becomes he.
I guess I should link the YouTube streams right now because I'm only on YouTube, so might as well see. Might as well see if any people who are on an exodus from Twitch might want to be over here. What is the YouTube link? This is the YouTube links here. Put this there. There. Okay. Kill that. Okay, let's see. My sock's getting in the way. Only streaming on YouTube now. YouTube now. What the heck am I typing? It's not my fault. The socks are in the way. I'm not used to this altitude. Only streaming on YouTube now because my ISP is retarded. Retarded. Doesn't let me stream to both. You can still subscribe on Twitch and for free with Amazon Prime. Should I say that you can subscribe on Twitch with Amazon Prime for free? So that I can get first world internet as opposed to third world internet. It'll be okay. There's no biggie. It's no biggie. Let's see, only streaming on YouTube now because my ISP is okay. Let's say fine. Let's not use the R word. Is being estúpido. Let's do that. It's being estúpido and doesn't let me stream to both. I can still subscribe on Twitch with Amazon Prime and subscriber alerts will still appear and see your alert. And then there's the link. That is the link, right? If I press this, I can't see it for some reason. I'm gonna watch my own stream. Whoa, that's so cool. Look at this. It's like a mirror. Okay, so this is the link and it does work. I guess I should keep the Twitch chat open so I can read if anybody wants to type into there. Um, I guess I'll just post that. Why not? Fuck, I'm still kind of hungry. Hungry. I uh, I haven't really eaten at all today, so maybe later I'll get some snacks. Then we can bilocate in both YouTube and Twitches. Another thing I've been thinking of doing is also getting a like an AFK screen. Instead of it having be like this with the Kuromis, it would be like a link to all the stuffs you can support. Once I keep working on Song of Monkey, that'll be there, as well as my stories that I've written. And why is it just me, or oh, it is? Why does it do this? Like, look, I don't see it on here on the chatbot thingy. I see it on screen, but in the actual chat window itself, it doesn't show up. Neither links nor the ad thingy. Kiro, why is it broken? Why haven't you fixed it yet? What the heck? You could make the Kuromi's AFK page has all the links on to foods and Takis that he's eating. I don't know. Cause then there would be people who are retarded enough who would think that you would be that the way that you would use the stories and the links is to eat them, and then I would be sued because people are estupidos in real IRL. Okay, let's go back to my video.
He who contributed to that collective mission. Until we as a society don't develop a
Society.
clear purpose beyond empty platitudes of pursuit of happiness, vain political tribalism, or even identity, we won't know what to do with ourselves as men, because there won't be a clear standard of meaningful success for us to measure ourselves to, beyond pretending that trying to be a living meme or rampant consumption makes us happy or gives us any purpose. In our days, we like to call ourselves alpha and sigma males, but in truth, we're lucky if we're not Gollum, a ravenous mess getting more and more starved no matter how much we give in to our appetites. Both the alpha and the sigma archetypes are really just consumers, in my opinion. Their position of success on the social hierarchy are really just a means to allow them to consume more to their heart's content, especially the consumption of women.
Yeah, I can see the SpongeBob thingy. It shows up here. So the bot commands do work. It's just links and user ads, which that's so weird. Why does it do that? Let's see, what if I do? So if I link to the tipping page, I don't see it here on my chat. Let me get rid of the camera so you can see. I don't see it here. It's like empty. But I do see it on the oh my god, I got too many things open. I do see it on the screen here. If I add a channel, I also can't see that here, but I can see it in the OBS preview. Ogre here. Um, the bot commands do seem to work. Yeah, so this works here perfectly fine. Yeah, the emotes also work. I guess I should say the emotes work for for you. They don't work for me. Why are the emotes disabled? Oh, it's because. Is it? What the heck? What's going on? Why don't the emotes work? I thought I had it enabled here on options. Skip, 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 skip. So I can see them, but I don't have the list here. There used to be a thingy here where you could engage with your audience. I can make polls and stuff, probably. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess I can't see links here, and I can't see channel ads for some reason. It's whatever. It's not a huge deal. Okay, let's get back to the video. I came here to watch my column video. No, oh, whoa.
as objects in the so called sexual marketplace, since it's all about mere material success. But focusing too much on our appetites is the worst kind of slippery slope. You want to be a Sigma male? Well, you can't get more Sigma than Gollum. How can you get more independent or self reliant than living in a cave alone, eating all the raw fish you want? And yeah, I emphasize with the idea of a Sigma male, but ironically, a true Sigma wouldn't worry about being a Sigma or any sort of labeling, much less where.
That's always that's always the thing that bothered me about all of these cringe masculinity bros. Like they feel as if they need to loudly and proudly exert their title or their supposed social title, their supposed social rank loudly and publicly. That's and it's not just like the thingy with Sigma and Alpha cringe lord stuff. It's with other stuff too. It's like when people say that they consider themselves to be extremely humble or whatever. It's like these aren't the things. If you are these things, you don't say them about yourself. First of all, that's the first knock against it. The second knock against it is if you are these things, then people say it about you. That's how you know it's way more true. And my rank in Halo Reach was Reclaimer. My rank in Halo Reach is I've never played Halo until it came to PC. That's my rank. Why does people think they has to give themselves a label to feel some sort of validations? Because of modern society's fault that we don't have any more close knit communities, and so they have to use quote the internet as their vehicle to give themselves a rank to to expound upon their identity. And the internet is just too far and wide and vast, like that one woman's eyes from that video you guys were watching yesterday. And nobody's really gonna notice those things about you. So you have to say it about yourself. You have to make these claims about your own title and the uh, the virtues of your masculinity and femininity and so on. And so that's why people feel like they feel the need to give themselves this social status, this social rank. which is it's honestly kind of it's both depressing and funny. I think we should ridicule people who feel the need to always label themselves as such, whether it's a alpha or a sigma, because I think that's pretty cringe. It seems like the kind of stuff that you would either do in high school or grow out of once you're past high school. But as we all know, a lot of people don't grow up beyond high school. Me miss the hot early 2000s emo punk girls who said they is nonconformist and don't label me on MySpace. Me takes back call them cringe back then. If you hadn't done that, then you wouldn't be missing out right now on an emo goth girl. But I guess that's also kind of cool because these days the emo goth girl also have something extra in the middle between their legs. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of pretty cool, right at Kiro, right at the Cat Watches, right at a Flick's Life. Where's my mouse? My mouse is gone.
He ranks up in a social hierarchy. But regardless, to me, it is quite obvious that Gollum, from The Lord of the Rings, represents the failed man. Failure as a theme is actually a very prevalent yet extremely overlooked element of the trilogy. The plot happens because Isildur failed to destroy the ring, and at the very climax of the story, the main protagonist essentially failed. And success only happened because
No, Frodo didn't essentially fail. He did fail. He fell into the temptation of the ring. His lust for the cock ring was too strong, so he did fail. Were it not for Gollum, he would have alerted the Dark Lord Sauron and his Nazguls, and they would have killed them, and then Sauron would have won. It's pretty cool. It's kind of like, but not exactly. I like the video of the Wallace and Gromit mouse eating M&Ms for 10 hours. You know what? I've never watched it. Why don't you go ahead and link me that video at Kira? That sounds pretty cool. Maybe I'll give that a watch on stream while I fold the laundry.
Gollum also failed. His complete and total failure to achieve his goal of keeping the ring for himself made him destroy himself and the ring, and thus made Frodo's mission succeed, which is one of the great ironies of any epic tale. What is failure, though? It's not just a lack of success. That's the most superficial element of failure. If we wish to avoid it in our lives, we need a deeper understanding of what it means. Failure is the neglect or omission of an unexpected or required action. It's the unfruitfulness of our actions. And keep in mind that existence itself is an action. To be, to exist. So a life of failure is a life that didn't turn out how it could have been in its actions. It fell short. Now, all evil is failure
It fell short. Kind of like Frodo, because he's short.
in a sense. Death is not what life seeks for itself, after all, but failure is the manifestation of the pathetic aspect of immorality, and it's not always visible when evil exerts its corrupted power. Though Sauron, Darth
That's a little funny how he said power. I do think that there is a lot of truth to that. So you know those videos we were watching where the guy is saying that there's a demons is everywhere. Right now I have the Hungy demons. I do think that a lot of people discount the fact that there are other things in this world that we can't see, that we can't notice, and I did kind of want to write like a story where like we're like going through time, and then there's like this consistent evil demons or succubus or other evil and lewd things that are inspiring people to to act out malicious deeds, and it's kind of like a covert being who's influencing people, whether directly or indirectly. And I think that could be cool, like a good way to express why you should surround yourself with people who can either detect these evil creatures or who can assist you in fighting off the urge, fighting off the feminine urge or the masculine urge, whatever it may present itself to be. Me still has to watch the new Sam and Colby video. Who's Sam and Colby? Is that the priest guy? He's always inspired to act out the act of sleeping lately. Yeah, because you have the sleep demons. That's why. You have the sleeping demons. I guess I should. I think I'm sort of gonna like phase out the support stuff in the corners. This where is this one? This stuff here on the bottom left. I think I'm gonna start phasing this out. I might keep this one on the bottom right for a little bit, but I might kill that as well and just rethink how I do that. So I guess I'll just make my background as big as possible. Let me reset, transform, and that should be perfect. So that's my screen is the full streaming thingy. Me needs to evil creature detectives. Kind of like a priest or something. Or you could also have like glasses. Some kind of oh, it's like they live. You can have the black sunglasses and then that'll let you see the evil spookies and it'll let you detect actually evil people in their legitimate form. And so if you look at me while you're wearing those glasses, I would have a 10 feet massive.
Vader and Voldemort are all pathetic. They don't seem so at first as they destroy their opponents with ease and command vast legions of underlings that dominate the land in their name. It's only when you look closer that you realize that Sauron was an insecure douche who had to dominate to feel good about himself, and Darth Vader was a massive simp, and not to mention Voldemort is one of those retards who never got over their school years. True failure is in fact the result of immorality. One fails when they neglect to do their part. However, if your life falls short even as you do your best to be moral and responsible, then you're not really a failure, you're a victim, and that's not your fault. But it's either someone else's or the general unfairness of reality. Discerning victimhood from failure is one of the most difficult riddles in life, and it requires a lot of wisdom. No wonder it's so controversial in politics. Even in Gollum as a character, it's hotly debated. Is Gollum a victim of the ring? Or is he a failure who chose not to fight its seduction as well as he could have? Well, the fact that the ring had its influence over many other characters who did not kill their loved ones at the first opportunity, it's a clear indication that Gollum is in fact immoral. The ring made me do it is not a suitable defense. Yet I still have to address the elephant in the room.
Wait a second. He said the ring made me do it. It's not a suitable defense. So does that mean that he would say the same thing about Adam? He said the woman made me do it. The woman tricked me into eating the fruits. That's what he would say. It's always the woman's fault.
Here and talk about Gollum as a symbol of addiction. And yes, of course, there is that element. Addiction is a great evil that possesses us. And the truth is, we're all struggling against an addiction to something, one way or another. You know, a bad habit of some.
Yeah, I'm not lewd. The woman made me do it. She's looking very round and robust and well endowed. It's her fault. She's the one who made me do it. She's literally asking for it.
Some kind. Smeagol embraced it to his own demise, preferring whatever high he was feeling over his own well being, and especially the well being of others. Though being an addict alone does not make you a failure, giving up on the fight against it does. Don't give up, my friends. The fight is worth it. When looking at Gollum and his wretchedness and abhorrent maliciousness, we must remember that he's not a demonization of addiction, as Frodo and Bilbo are also representative of this struggle. Gollum simply demonstrates what happens when moral failure makes everything worse. Addiction is a weakness, but that doesn't mean that the addict as a person is weak. It takes a lot of strength to fight addiction and to find hope in the darkness as your own mind and body betray you by craving what destroys you. And people often can fall into addiction for a myriad of reasons, not always due to a moral failure on their part. It's not correct to assume all who are victims of addiction are degenerates, though some are, like Gollum.
Not all who wander are lost. Not all who suffer are addicted, unless you're like Gollum.
But others are like Bilbo, who found it innocently enough during a dark moment of their life journey. It started out as a small habit that helped them cope with the adversity a bit.
Cope.
Nothing irresponsible, just a few occasional drinks to take the edge off. Until suddenly it got out of hand and he had to go to elf rehab for a while. But
Elf
then,
rehab?
through his own good choices and the love of his friends and family, he was set free. Addiction is the result of a pattern of behavior that falls into a negative feedback loop, where the desired rush diminishes each time, forcing people to commit more to that behavior until it overwhelms them. The brain gets tricked into this pattern of seeking the rush. It's the result of the human condition, and any one of us can fall into it. That's why being judgmental against those struggling against addiction is short-sighted, and if you think you're a hotshot immune to it, that will only make certain that you yourself will probably fall into it, since you'll neglect caution.
It could be like, yeah, like he's like a turtle who's kind of like a grunt, and every time you're about to approach the caches, he speeds up in front of you, and so he does it first, and then you get to say that it wasn't me, it was the golem's fault. What the heck? I thought I heard a monster. Maybe there's a big feats outside my window right now. It's the spooky monsters.
Addiction is such an exploitable bug of the human organism that it has even been used as a weapon of warfare and subversion, where entire nations try getting rival populations addicted to various things in order to subjugate them, like opium or TikTok, which is precisely Sauron's plan when he invented the ring.
I agree. We should get rid of TikTok. TikTok is a plague upon humanity, a plague upon modern youth. Imagine being an adult and using TikTok. Imagine posting a video on TikTok about you playing a video game and then you go saying, meow, meow, I'm a cat, meow, I'm a fucking cat. Imagine doing that. What the heck?
Rings of power in the first place. The ring is a good example of weaponized addiction, similar to what we've seen throughout history. The slavery to your impulses and urges that addiction causes can be vanquished, however, through a continuous and disciplined approach to breaking the cycle of behavior. It's about nurturing your inner strength over time and surrounding yourself with support and a loving community, the opposite of what Gollum did, as he chose his desires for the rush over a friendship with Frodo, while Bilbo chose Frodo and Gandalf over the ring. Fighting addiction is extremely painful, but surrendering to it is even more so.
Reference to Flick's TikTok? What are you talking about? I didn't do nothing. But at Kiro, imagine stealing somebody's animation. The animation just exists. It's not like if somebody made it. It's not like if somebody spent their time making it and making it look good. It just exists. It just is.
It's very much a rock and a hard place kind of situation. Denying the craving hurts, but falling into it will only make it worse. and it will be even more painful as it destroys your body and your soul. But the key is to understand that these are different kinds of pain. The first pain is the weakness leaving your being, while the second is the pain of your being deteriorating. And
I like this video. This is a pretty good video. I was hoping it would be a good video, so I am very glad that I'm saving this for the stream because it's there's a lot of things we could probably talk about, but could probably discuss. But I think for the time being, we'll just stick to the flick talk parts.
thus getting weaker. So you must choose the first type of pain. One form of addiction directly connected to the nature of masculinity is, of course, the addiction to pornography, which one does not have to face alone, thanks to today.
Oh, he's talking about you at Kiro. Your addiction to making content that some may or may not deem to be pornography, which may or may not lead to people having to go to confession once a week. Gabriel likes staring at the phone with me. Yeah, that's why my streams are actually just a place for cats to stare bear at something, and sometimes fall asleepings while stare bearing at it.
Today's sponsor. In our day and age, porn addiction has to be the closest thing to the Ring of Sauron in the real world. Think about it. It's seductive at first, only to trap you in a cycle of self-destruction and brain damage while your life is consumed by it, and it's so difficult to get rid of since it's thoroughly connected to something you carry with you everywhere that starts with a P. You know, your phone, constantly connected to the internet. Also, I'm pretty sure it's a military-grade weapon to destroy the West. Anyway, no wonder it's a serious
No,
and
that's
fast-spreading problem affecting the health of billions worldwide. But as the key to Frodo's recovery was a loyal companion on his journey, for you, that companion can be Blocker X, a complete system that helps you quit by providing unlimited blocking of the very websites that call to you like Sauron's voice from the
Oh
abyss.
shit, Miyama, you gotta
There's
get
no
this.
healthy life in the void.
You gotta get
Only
this
Coom.
this
Very hard to
extension,
quit
so
when
you
you're
don't have to go
surrounded by people
to.
who think it's normal because we're becoming atomized and isolated individuals trapped
you
in
don't
our
have
own
to
dark
get your
caves, consuming
confessions
slimy
every
fish
week.
content from the dark pools of the World Wide Web from Shelob's lair. But with the Blocker X community, you can help stay motivated. It has 100,000 members, all on the same journey to Mordor as you. The other blockers have the problem of easily being uninstalled, but Blocker X can only be uninstalled with the permission of your buddy. That's right, they're incorporating Samwise Gamgee into the system where he goes, "No, Mr. Frodo, you don't need no dubious anime waifus. You're not watching it for the story." But seriously, you can add websites,
I watch it
apps,
for the
and keywords
story.
to the block list, send daily report to your buddy, deactivate apps.
I'm a writer by trade, and so I make stories. And so, if you watch any of my stuff, then that means you're definitely watching it for the story because all of my content that may or may not be suitable for YouTube and or Twitch, that they all have stories, and they are quite biblical in nature, if you think about it.
For 10 minutes after any adult content is blocked through strict mode, and access courses to help you with your journey, and many other features. There are many people who get very defensive over pornography these days, and these seem to be getting more and more aggressive, becoming eerily similar to Gollum trying to protect his precious. And it gets worse when they get angry over you trying to overcome it on your own life. So they write articles calling you a danger to a free society or some retarded crap like that, when in fact, you're searching for your own freedom from addiction. Which is why I strongly suggest Blocker X and start your journey towards self-development. Use the link to install it in the pinned comment and the description. Good luck, Mr. Frodo. Now back to the video. Every person who becomes a failure is in part a victim, since they do fall short in defending themselves against the difficulties of the world. But that's something everyone faces, and it's our duty to take the necessary actions to overcome those difficulties through discipline and responsibility. Getting too caught up in your victimhood can make you a failure as you neglect to enact the change in yourself, which could give you the strength to improve your life, since blaming others is always easier, right? At the same time though, victim blaming
This is why I always blame others all the time. If somebody is making a group Discord DM, but I want them to hang out in my Discord server instead, and I tell them that they gotta hang out with me. Because there should only be one friend group, and everybody should like my friends. And you're not allowed to have your own groups or your own favorite people. Yeah, oh well.
Is also an easy false solution, as we can then ignore the collective social evils that some of us benefit from instead of doing the hard thing and taking action to help an innocent person overwhelmed by the difficulty of the world at no fault of their own. Like I said, it's a tricky topic which requires humility in all sides of the conversation. So if there's anything you disagree with, or if there's anything you wish to add, let me know down in the comments. That way we can expand each other's horizons through civil conversation, which is how we acquire wisdom. Either
Expand each other's horizons, huh? I got something that'll expand your horizon. Yeah, oh well.
that, or one of us is forced to drink hemlock. Anyway, Lord of the Rings can show how failure plays out in a narrative, which then can help us recognize when we're doing the same immoral actions in our own lives and help us achieve catharsis as we observe the tragic result of how these characters ended up through their own choices, especially as men in the postmodern era, confused about our own masculinity and what purpose there is for it. The three examples of a failed man in the trilogy are displayed in three characters: Gollum, Denethor, and Wormtongue, representing slavery to passions, despair, and cowardly self-interest. Gollum being the most
What the heck? He forgot all about Boromir. Boromir was able to redeem himself. I guess he's gonna cover that. Boromir was sort of able to redeem himself. Unlike Denethor, because he didn't fall into despair completely. He was at least able to kill a whole bunch of Uruk-hai before they were able to capture Merry and Pippin. So he at least redeemed himself before he died. So that's pretty cool. Everyone should have at least 69 group chats per person. That might be a bit too much. I don't know if Discord's going to let you be in 69 group chats. They might have to start limiting your total amount of... Everyone should have a quota on the max amount of group chats they're able to be in. Because then otherwise, you're going to have all of those people starting a group call and trying to reach the world record of the 5,000 hours. 5,000 hour long group chat, group call.
Most important, because his submission to his own desires is what makes him also display the aspects of the other two characters from time to time, making him basically the quintessential failure. My argument about Gollum being the quintessential example of a failed man, or that he demonstrates the lowest form of masculinity, is that his character shows essential masculine traits at their most useless, corrupted, and disordered. Masculinity is often defined by chasing a goal, the man on a mission. So is Gollum, but it's the wrong mission. Masculinity often requires aggression and the will to defend, and Gollum has that, but what is he defending? What makes him aggressive? Pure selfishness. Manhood at its core requires you to endure suffering, to take things like a man, and Gollum is certainly suffering. But
yeah, I agree. People should take things like a man. Especially women. You should tell a woman to take it like a man. And also trans women, you should tell them to take it like a man. And to be more womanly, and any criticisms of this person's beliefs or politics, they should take it like a man. And the same goes for you at the Cat Watches. Take it like a man.
But for what? His precious? The thing is destroying him from the inside out, and the result of his disordered passions, and being so misaligned with what is truly good and beautiful, Gollum becomes ugly and weak, to the point that even his expressions of masculinity become pathetic. Yeah, Gollum has aggression, but when he tries picking a fight, he usually loses. Yeah, he's endured great suffering, but he whines about it like a wimp. And yeah, he's driven by a singular goal, but fails to fulfill it. In the real world, there are many different types of men who resemble Gollum in key ways. The meme of the Redditor, or the Discord mod, they resemble Gollum in their isolation.
What? dude, they're all soy jacks. All the soy jacks are Gollum. It makes perfect sense. That's what he's about to say right now. This is like a this is obviously an AI made version of Gollum. But what I see more than Gollum typing away at Reddit is a fucking soy jack. It's a Gollum soy jack.
as they observe the world concealed within the internet from their man caves. Then we have the celebrity hedonist, who's successful but then goes through a massive breakdown and becomes a nuisance to society, and then has to be isolated in a rehab or prison or house arrest. Yeah, even people who appear to be winning at first because they found their ring of power that allows them to do stuff beyond ordinary men might prove to end up like Gollum when their primary concerns were animalistic pleasure seeking, which turns them into a low type of man. And the third is the Coomer, wasting away,
Hey, that's
destroying
me.
their own willpower, blasting their brain with filth, deteriorating their own health, and getting extremely aggressive.
No. I blast my brain with super cool stories that just so happen to have characters who live on this website called R34, and it all makes sense. Okay, it's all for the story. That's why I like Chun Li because her story is super cool. That's why I look up a lot of her cool, visually drawn stories.
Whenever you dare criticize their habit, just go look in the comments. I guarantee you're gonna find a few Coomers there complaining. In our days, Gollum seems to represent all these types, but in the end, he's actually more the representative of the unrepentant sinner, consumed entirely by his submission to temptation, as the ring represents temptation itself. But that's what a failed man is, making Gollum the most important character for us to analyze in the entire trilogy. Well, actually, Tolkien despised allegory. I know! But not symbolism. Having elements of his story representing greater themes by being a concrete example of something abstract is riddled throughout the books. Tolkien says so himself that he used symbolism, and when you carefully read his quote on allegory, you see that he dislikes one-for-one representations meant by the author, which cannot be applied another way by the reader. But he was seeking to make a work with applicability, where we as readers could see how some of his story elements can be relevant to our current social circumstances. So Tolkien's applicable symbolism would be the dwarves represent a society that falls to decay after being too greedy. So we should avoid digging too deep for the riches of the earth, such as fracking, lest we unleash our own Balrog in the form of an earthquake. While allegory would be Tolkien saying, the dwarves are meant to be Jews!
If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard.
Therefore, us analyzing how
the
Gollum is an
heck?
incel is exactly what Tolkien would have wanted. I'm kidding. There's more than just Gollum can't get some hobbit tail. The psychologist Carl Jung believed that mythological stories revealed archetypes that were manifested patterns of behavior that different individuals found themselves manifesting. The Lord of the Rings, being written as an intended work of mythology by the biggest myth nerd in recent history, is filled with such archetypes. It's a modern iteration of ancient wisdom as Tolkien adapted these myths in his own writing. It's not just a colorful cast of characters, which is ironically more bland in Rings of Power despite the superficial diversity, but a plethora of symbols passed down throughout the ages, based on human experience. Kind of like how some dude named Dick was
It's kind of like, but not exactly.
such a raging a-hole in history that his name became an insult, ruining everything for all the other dicks. This is exactly why Gollum,
Not mine.
or Smeagol as he's also called, is the most important out of all these characters in all of the Lord of the Rings, because he's the most applicable to us. The horrifying and depressing truth is that it's extremely hard to be an Aragorn, or a Frodo, or a Sam, not to mention a Gandalf. It's even extremely hard to be a Pippin or a Merry. Not even Boromir, as relatable as he is that easily attainable unless we're willing to die to make things right. All of these archetypes display unbelievable heroism in the face of death and destruction.
Yeah, I believe that more people should definitely be willing to die for their beliefs and for what they believe to be true. I feel like if more people were like Boromir, then the world would be a much better place. I think I remember once there was a. Let's see if I can find it. I might be able to. Let's see. No! Okay, here we go. I think this is it here. Yeah. I don't know if it's gonna, if the audio is gonna play on the stream, but we will see. Okay, yeah. This one right here. Animal rights protesters trespassed onto a duck farm, chained their necks to the slaughter line, and then suddenly the machine switched back on and started to move while they were still attached. And they're afraid of fucking dying. Right? They're afraid of dying. Aren't they willing to die for their beliefs? Imagine not being based. Cringe. That's why I said not willing to die for what you believe in. Cringe, Gar. That makes you incredibly uncool. Very unmasculine, like Gollum.
And unless we become war veterans, or do incredible acts of charity, or challenge the wrath of a dictatorship, like many real world heroes do, chances are we don't live up to these archetypes.
That's definitely true because there is this one meme, this one very super cool, super accurate meme. See if I can find it, or if I'm gonna have to describe it. Fuck, I can't find it. Anyway, the meme is, it's like, I'm pretty sure it's like a 2x3 comic. Or on the top left, it says, on the top left, it's like, it shows bad people who have the symbol, and then this guy says, I would have hidden the rat people in my house. And then later on, there are the people who fought for civil rights in the U.S. and they said I would have protested. And then today it's the this thingy over here that if I say I might get banned off YouTube or whatever. And it says, arrest them for not taking the this thingy. You know, that meme. Arrest them and take their jobs and fire them and let them starve and let their families die for not being able to make money by not letting them go to work.
The only possible exception might be if you become a real good parent, in which case you are definitely a great hero to your kids. But even that is beyond the reach of many of us who are terrified of children. Like the wailing of a banshee. Meanwhile, it's extremely easy to become Gollum, and most of us already are in some way. I know I am, and my Smeagol is desperately trying to keep him at bay so I don't get entirely consumed by my temptations. This is because Gollum in his entirety perfectly encapsulates what we're all almost about to become if we give up. The man who refused to repent and improve to the point that he fails so hard he is dissolved into the nothingness that he achieved for himself. He is different to Boromir, who is the man who failed but repented, becoming an archetype of the penitent. And I know what many of you might be thinking. Why should we analyze Gollum as the archetype of failed masculinity? Why not just a failed person in general? Are you saying women can't be failures? Well, I'll have you know that women can be just as pathetic. My equality!
Yes, women can definitely just as pathetic, I agree. Yeah.
And yeah, that's true. We can definitely analyze Gollum's universal aspects that apply to both sexes, but there are differences between the genders, as we know from psychology and pathological behavior.
What? Differences between the genders? What the heck? This guy's a transphobe. What the heck?
Behavior does in fact manifest differently in both sexes, due to differences in strengths and weaknesses. Gollum's severe antisocial behavior is highly typical of men who failed. The isolation, the loitering in the darkness, the criminal behavior as a lone wolf rogue causing trouble. Statistically, this is a very male thing. While for women, I'd say that a good example of a total moral failure who is like Gollum but in a dress would be Bellatrix from Harry Potter, or Harley Quinn before she was turned into an anti-hero for some reason.
What the heck? Harley Quinn is cool though. She's got a very nice um attributes and very nice assets. I like Harley Quinn. She's super cool. What the heck?
Her failure is more social and defined by running with the wrong crowd and developing a type of groupthink, fanaticism, and fangirling so hard she kills people then gets herself killed. When women fail, they tend to be the screeching harpies that scream talking points of an ideology and dissolve their individuality completely for a group or another person. While for
Wow, that sounds like a lot of people these days. Even men. Is he trying to say that those men aren't particularly masculine? What the heck?
men, it's the opposite, with him becoming an atomized individual usually. Males who are fanatic group thinkers usually aren't social failures, at least like Gollum or Bellatrix and Harley Quinn, who suffer constant abuse and become too weak to defend themselves in their own context. But fanatic men are often powerful lieutenants of a cause. Failure in both Gollum and Bellatrix is often characterized by an obsession. But for the male, it's normally an object or an abstract, while for women, it's normally a person. But in either case, it has similar effects, where they both are weird and don't look right and could really use a shower. The key aspect of Gollum's failure is a lack of self-control. Remember, failure is an aspect of evil, but not its entirety. So an evil man can be very successful in this world at least, because he might be very disciplined in some things, but makes other wrong choices. But failure is about not achieving anything of value. So an evil man can achieve material success, but fail at achieving anything beyond that, which is more important. Whatever the case, pride is the root cause of all immorality, because pride is when you stop yourself from improvement, so you wouldn't have committed those immoral acts if you were humble enough to change yourself for the better. Therefore, pride always leads to failure, especially when it makes you refuse to be disciplined and punish yourself through trial as you become overtaken by your most base impulses. Which is why Gollum is animalistic, eats raw animals, and walks on all fours, and why some strange people think Gollum is kind of cute, like a giant pet the boys kept around.
I think that the kind of people who think a golem is cute are not the kind of people um, who we would consider as partners. Let's keep it that way.
On a leash, like a sphinx cat. Look at that thing! It'll throttle you in your sleep. My precious catnip. Gollum's animalistic nature emphasizes his failure as a man, lower than man. Delayed gratification is key to being a successful man, and you lose your manhood when you are consumed by temptation. Often the opposite of manhood is said to be effeminate behavior, but that's only partly true. Be careful with influencers and e-celebrities that tell you to fulfill your animal appetites of constant sex and shiny objects. Many are not actually helping you become a high-value man, but a voracious animal easily controlled by the real men who strengthen their rational.
What the heck? That's not true. My YouTuber who tells me to be an alpha male, like a cool wolf, he knows what he's talking about. That's why he uses aminal terminology instead of human terminology, because he's so cool. Because he can succeed in the human world instead of having to cope.
Let's go. Let's go.
What the heck?
Rational faculties. Those men who can control themselves can also control those who cannot control themselves, which is why we always see these hustler guys who tend to scam young men.
I don't know. I think I want to try it, but we will see. I don't know. There's a little opening here. Opening, huh? There's a little opening here on this left side. I think I might be able to sneak past this little opening. And maybe if I'm lucky. We can just use his buildings against him as a funnel, so we'll see.
Out of a lot of money for their, I don't know, masculinity schools. You gotta be careful with that kind of stuff. Anyway, Gollum was basically a hobbit once. A normal, happy lad called Smeagol, part of a community with friends and family. He was far from the wretched condition he had fallen into. And of course, it all started when his cousin encountered a shiny golden ring in the waters. The ring, being the symbol of temptation, brought out the worst from Smeagol, who then killed his cousin after being refused the ring. Upon using it, he realized that it had special.
Okay, this might not be. This might not be ideal. It's a little too small there to actually fight. Fuck. I'm gonna have to go find another choke point.
Special powers and turned him invisible. The power made him act on his own worst impulses, essentially becoming a criminal, until even with the power of being unseen, it was clear that he was a nuisance. He was banished from his community, living in a dark cave until losing the ring to Bilbo. After he encountered Sam and Frodo, he has a brief moral struggle where Frodo's compassion brings out the best in him. That old happy lad who existed before the corrupting power of the ring. But ultimately he chooses corruption and inadvertently destroys the ring with himself. So how did things spiral out of control so fast? Things went from 0 to 60 really quickly, then spun off a cliff. As usual, philosophy has something long and convoluted to say about it. The nature of the ring in Tolkien's work reminds me of the story about the Ring of Gyges in Plato's Republic. It's basically
I'm pretty sure Tolkien based some of the info, some of the details, and the attributes of the Ring of Power based off the Ring of Gyges. I'm pretty sure its primary focus, its primary ability in the Ring of Gyges is that it makes you invisible. And then, I think in that case, the moral conundrum is what would you do if you were able to be invisible? From what I recall, I haven't read much on the Ring of Gyges recently.
the same concept of a magical ring that turns one invisible and thus capable of acting out their innate desires without any social repercussions. Plato uses this hypothetical magic ring to explore the idea of morality being simply a convenient social construct we abide by to avoid retribution from others. But once we don't have to worry about that, does morality cease to be useful? Plato concludes through Socrates that no, even if there is no retribution, doing whatever you want would enslave you to your most base passions and you'd consume yourself, losing the ability of rational self-control, and thus you stop being a master of your own destiny until your desires to do something extremely stupid will destroy you, independent of society.
Like sniffing glue or spending too much time on Discord.
Tolkien reinforces this Socratic conclusion by making the Ring of Invisibility have that tendency of irrational passion baked into its nature. It has a malevolent will of its own. You never control the Ring of Power, it controls you until it reduces you into a shell of what you could have become if you had chosen differently. Gollum is a suffering wretch, whether within society or alone in a cave, left to his own self-destructive ways. And even with
Greek and Roman mythology and Beowulf had many influences on Tolkien. Yes, they did. Oh, well, I agree. I still have to watch and read Beowulf. Oh no, they're coming! Coming, huh? Run! Oh no!
With the power of invisibility, the fact that he was surrendering himself to irrational passions made him slip up and be noticed as a problem for his community. As both Socrates and Tolkien teach, it doesn't pay to be immoral deep down. The ring's invisibility power is the idea that whatever a person does while unseen helps us see what the person's true nature is, because only by seeing what the person is willing to do when they can.
Yeah, that's the same I guess it's still the same consistent argument of
Can't be condemned.
uh there's two philosophical what are they called? I don't think they're called philosophical quandaries or whatever. They're just called like situations, um, thingies. The one where you you can tell like what a person's true character is based off how they treat somebody who can't help them or the poor or something like that. I think there's just another one. I can't quite remember right now. The movie changed a lot, but it's still fun. The old epic, the old English poem is cool. Yeah, I've got to read through that. I have a lot of things. Now that I'm here, actually, let me go ahead. Um, have this entire thing for heroes and legends that I need to go take care of. Monsters. I have to look up all of these monsters. There's another thingy here. I don't wanna. I don't want to show too much of my stuff, of my notes. Where is? I have like a whole entire list. Oh, okay, here we go. Here's my other thingies to get through. So I need to go through Song of Roland. I gotta go through Beowulf. Let's hit that. There's a couple other stories. There's some other Bible stories that I need to go through a bit more in depth. Yeah, Song of Roland is cool because that's basically the inspiration for Boromir. Boromir is based off the Song of Roland. Um, what else was I gonna? Let me go ahead and hide my thingies here. What is it, buddy? What happened? Read the Battle of Maldon, Old English poem. It's only a few pages long, but it's cool. Battle of Maldon. Where is that? It took place on 11th of August 991 AD near Maldon beside the river Blackwater in Essex, England. Sex, huh? It's a battle between the Saxons and the Vikings. Is this the one where there is that one berserker who's on the bridge? And then the guy has to go under the bridge to stab him from below, between the legs? Is that this one? Um, fuck, what's his name? That was Harold Hardrada who was there, right? In that this one that I'm thinking of. Is this one also against Harold Hardrada? Or his one of his? There's a bridge involved, but not this poem. Not this poem. Poem, huh? Okay, I'll go ahead and add this to my list of things to get through. Let's do stories for this one. Yeah. Oh, whoa. Fuck. Me is getting hungry. Let's see. we invented a new literary genre, porn poetry. Yeah, ooh, whoa. Gotta start pumping out, huh? Start pumping out a couple of works for that genre. Gotta capitalize on it while it's fresh and new. Um, how much longer is this video? Let's see. We are at 26 of 37 minutes, so 9 more minutes. So I guess I could just go get some snacks real quick. And then we'll keep listening. And then afterward, I can get some foods. I was going to do something else. I forgot what it was. Fuck. Okay. I will go get some snacks. I will be right back in a couple of seconds. Have to go sleeping soon. Okay, I guess what I will do then is that I will turn the stream into an ASMR stream from this point moving forward. And instead of continuing to do more, whoa, we will continue to do a quieter, more subtle stream, discussing our political, philosophical, and Tolkienian topics to better understand the world in which we live. And also, I have my food, so I'm gonna be munching for a little bit right now.
Can we see what the person actually is like as opposed to what they pretend to be to get by? Though it's important to note that a person's true nature isn't static, it's constant decision making, and at any moment a person can course correct, which is why Frodo is always merciful to Gollum. He's trying to give him a chance. Self-control is the key to success because the more you control yourself, the more you can influence what happens to you in your life. Even if there are forces you can't control, it would be even worse if you yourself were one of those forces acting against your own self-interest. And Gollum has several vices that keep him from ever choosing salvation and self-improvement, as we see throughout the story and can learn from so as to avoid it in ourselves. Gollum is cowardly, manipulative, short-sighted, narcissistic, useless, and dedicated to nothing but his desires for his way of doing things. We see how he's constantly afraid to face the truth about himself and his own faults. He's always blaming others for what happens to him. It's their fault, and everyone else is the problem.
It's my birthday, and we want it.
That's why it's okay to murder his cousin.
Thieves,
It's us.
Bagginses.
When actually poor Bilbo was just defending himself. He has no clue of the bigger picture and has little clue just what the ring is and what it's doing to him. And he's essentially a lazy, pathetic little man caught up in his own head. And he's a self-centered twat manipulating others when it suits him. Not to mention that he whines all the time when he doesn't get what he wants, crying in front of people to try to emotionally coerce them. As a result, he's a real pain in the tushy, and the only reason why anyone at all would keep him around is pity, and out of an ever more elusive hope that, through compassion, he'll get a clue and change his ways. Now, it's important to note that Gollum is not mentally ill. He doesn't have this dissociative personality disorder or anything like that. His dual personality that he has, where he alternates from good nature to malignant, represents his constant moral struggle. Smeagol's fall was due to
I feel like that's a very good point, and one of my issues with a lot of people today, especially a lot of critics and analysts, is that they want to sort of retroactively overlay modern understandings and modern diagnoses onto these old stories, which, I mean, I guess you could do it. However, I think it is much better, much more realistic, and a much more practical way if we take those as they are in those stories and get what we can as they appear. I don't know if we need necessarily to overlay something like PTSD or bipolar or anything else like that. We definitely could do that for Gollum. He definitely does obviously have some sort of other PTSD or other classifications of titles that we would use for mental illness. However, I think very clearly in this story, like The Lord of the Rings, which is inspired by mythology, we have other, much more, I guess what I would call reasonable things to approach, much more reasonable angles. For mythology, we could, the most obvious thing we could use is archetypes, which I think archetypes are definitely what you'd want to go for, what you'd opt for a character like Gollum in a story like Lord of the Rings, which is so super heavily and obviously inspired by mythology of older stories that are part of our world. And so I definitely do believe that going for the archetype route in this case is way better in any circumstance as opposed to, or rather compared to mental illness. Context is everything, and we must understand the context of the times for these stories. 100%. That's also one of the reasons why I dislike, or maybe not dislike, but I'm a little bit off put and a little hesitant to listen to critics and YouTube essayists, white man YouTube essayists who analyze older movies and stories and books and plays and characters with our modern sense of mental illness. I think that's a bit of a weaker way to go about doing it. It's technically still fine. It's just me being nitpicky. But ultimately, I do believe that the archetype way is the far superior way of doing it. Maybe I'm just being an elitist. I'm just being a literary and artistic elitist when it comes to that. However, I think it is quite an elevated and a objectively better way of going about it than falling back to the modern, I guess the modern cop out of mental illness. The only online critic we need to Doug Walker. I need to get the forward Doug. I don't have that one. I need to, let me go look at my current emotes. I haven't updated these in quite a while, so they might be quite different. My emo slots have been automatically increased to 1,000 based. Okay, let's see. I have Doug and Doug 2. I have Asian Mike. I haven't used Asian Mike in a while. Asian underscore Mike. What? It didn't work. My emote didn't work. What happened? Did I mistype? Asian Mike. No, that's exactly the way it should be. The turtle works. What the heck? I gotta check these other ones, see if they work. What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? What's up, buddy? No. This is my food, dude. What the heck? You already had your foods. The Walter White one works. What about the Tempest? Tempest work? Why doesn't the Asian mic work? What happened to my Asian mic? What the heck? It's oh, wait a second. Now it does work. What the heck? Wait, no, it doesn't. Does it? Oh my god, I'm looking at on my screen. It's showing up as if this is part of the chat, but it's not. What if I refresh the YouTube chat? Okay, let's give it a second. Okay, let's see. Asian underscore Mike. Okay, now it works. What the heck? What? That's so weird. It's like it just died it for like no reason. Does the Kuromi spray one work? Kuromi spray. Kuromi spray does work. So does the Joe Biden. Wake up. Yeah, I don't know. That was so weird. It's just for some reason the Asian mic one didn't work. Encouraging underscore smile. That one works. How about supportive underscore smile? That one works. Confused underscore stare. That one works. I need to get the stare bear one. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh fuck no, I can't look it up while OBS is open and I'm on streamer mode. You've posted it sort of recently in the Flick chat, right, Meow Meow? Although it's probably been quite a while ago. Let me see if I can go up a little bit and find it. Stare Bear the Bear Bear. I don't know what I'm gonna try to save it here, but something might pop up that I do not want to show up on the screen. So go ahead and hide that for a little bit real quick. Oh no, it's a fucking WebP. Yeah, if you could get me, don't you have it like saved on your phone in one of your folders, your quick your quick select folder for your emotes and responses. Well, let me know when you have it so I can go ahead and upload that.
To a personal moral failing, even with the external influence of the ring. However, Tolkien, being a Catholic, used many biblical themes, like demonic possession. The ring is literally containing a demonic spirit that possesses you, and Gollum's weird throat noises and using the they-them pronouns by addressing himself as we and us is how possessed people talk in the Bible.
I am Mr. Beast. We are like a legion. We are one. We are many.
Not to mention, he kinda looks like the possessed chick from The Exorcist. I bet you won't ever see him the same way again. But even with the demonic influence, all the ring really does is entice you and lie to you. It's your decision to follow its BS. So Gollum is not off the hook, despite Sauron also being to blame. Frodo suffered from the weight of his burden as well, and although he failed as an individual, he succeeded as a community. Namely, Sam always being there for him and providing support. And because of that, Frodo was able to endure up until that climactic moment where the ring was too much for him, but he still recovered afterwards, despite having his moment of weakness. The weird thing about life is that failing itself doesn't make you a failure. We all have those moments. It's dancing to your own demise that makes you a true failure, which is what happened in the books. They changed it in the movies, but originally, after getting the ring from Frodo, Gollum danced to his false victory so wildly that he lost his balance and fell to his death, which is a very poignant way to kill a character like Gollum. The way of his death really says it all about him. Can you imagine being so far gone that you wish to relish in your own destruction and celebrate your slow, painful death as you make it the core part of your identity and let it destroy everything else about you until you are a hollow shell of yourself? And you accept that, you celebrate that. That, my friends, is what failure is. It's not stumbling, it's not having difficulty, it's not struggling, and it's not falling short from time to time. It's enjoying your own demise. And that's a false solution to your struggle. Embracing the power of the ring won't make the pain go away. In fact, it'll make it worse as your body starts to give in and your brain is utterly destroyed to the point that you can't even feel the pleasure that you get addicted to in the first place. But you still desperately engage in those actions, desperate to feel something, but there's nothing left for you to feel anymore. You see that a lot in cases of porn addiction. Like, this is exactly what you see. Like, a lot of those weird fetishes that develop over time are all connected to self-destruction. Have you guys noticed that? Like, that's the quintessential of how your passions can lead to your self-destruction, how you can find enjoyment in your own destruction. And it's really, really tragic and really, really upsetting just when you see those psychological cases. Fighting against it is a matter of self-defense, and you do not and should not be alone in that fight. Gandalf was there for Bilbo, Sam was there for Frodo, and Frodo was there for Gollum. Now, there is talk about how Sam's constant rejection of Smeagol was a big reason of why the latter never felt accepted enough to open up and allow himself to love Frodo as a friend. And I even found YouTube videos referencing letters from Tolkien talking about an alternative ending for Gollum, where he is redeemed because Sam listens to Frodo and becomes more accepting of Gollum, and then Gollum is redeemed. But I haven't found those letters. In any case, Sam had a right to be suspicious of Smeagol, and had a right to be defensive. Smeagol is a freaking magical murder hobo, that's literally what he is. He had to repent of his sins irrespective of being accepted by others or not. You can't expect others to be the first to drop their guard when you have a history of literal criminal behavior. And you can't demand others to do so either. The way out of failure is selfless love for others, which gives the strongest possible motivations to escape ourselves and our weaknesses, which is what Gollum's split personality represents. Smeagol is the one who thinks of friends, and Gollum is the selfish one. Who is the real person? Again with this question. Is it Smeagol? Is it Gollum? People can debate this all they want, but like I said, This question misunderstands the human condition. I cannot stress this enough. We are a series of patterns of behavior and choices. So ultimately, the character is the one that he chose to be, which is Gollum. That's the real character. And unfortunately, his choice meant that things were better off with him gone from Frodo's life. Despite Frodo's compassion, Gollum was just holding him down and being a threat to Frodo's own recovery. And unfortunately in life, there are moments where this happens. And we have to let someone else go because they're just dragging us down to the abyss with them.
I'm pretty sure we can find a couple of images of Gollum holding Frodo down. That might be suitable material to dig further into for our research into Gollum as a character.
When in a crucial moment, they turn on you and attack you to serve their own selfish obsession. Most of us have experienced someone like that, and although forgiveness should always be on the table, that's reserved for those who truly wish to get better. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, Gollum in the real world only manifests himself in really cartoonishly tragic cases like Chris Chan, Elliot Rodger, or even Martin Sheen from the early 2010s when he was having that whole breakdown. Very obvious cases of someone going into a spiral of self-destruction, but that's not true. It happens more than you think, and it's not just the so-called incels or the massive hedonists or the criminals. The tendency to give in to our darkest impulses and isolate ourselves into our own little narcissistic fantasies is a threat that we all face at every moment. Becoming toxic to our friend group, pushing the blame on others, cowardly avoiding the problems we need to solve, coming up with constant excuses for our behavior. And no matter how small it may seem, if we're not careful, they can really overtake us and turn us into something we would never recognize. However, we shouldn't beat ourselves up whenever we stumble, and failure isn't something to fear in and of itself. Living a life fearing to fail might actually make you fail because then you never achieve anything. You should not regret having regrets, like I always say. That's natural. But Gollum is a good reminder of how hideous moral failure and choosing to embrace our darkest passions can make us, and how harmful to those closest to us we can become if we don't choose to act out of love. We all have a Gollum moment in our lives, where we are alone in our misery, suffering the consequences of our bad habits and evil choices, and often the way out is faith. Faith that we're not alone, that we have someone who loves us, and that wants to see us improve. Faith that our vices will not triumph over us, but that we will triumph over them by the grace of God. Rehabilitation from addiction and criminal behavior is often successfully done through faith and religious practice, because reforming oneself requires a reason bigger than oneself. Because the spiral of destruction is when you're doing everything for yourself. Therefore, yourself is not
What the heck? This guy is a one-self fan? Oh my goodness. I did not see that coming.
the sufficient. Because reforming oneself requires a reason bigger than oneself. Because the spiral of destruction is when you're doing everything for yourself. Therefore, yourself is not the sufficient reason for you to escape what's destroying yourself, which is yourself. So to be saved, to save yourself, you have to cling to something outside of yourself. That's the paradox. So those that go all like, oh, I don't need no God, I just have faith in myself. Good luck with that when you're your own worst enemy. You're not going to be your best friend when it's your own decisions that are destroying you. You have to submit yourself to a greater will to save yourself. Because your own will is the problem. You're making the wrong choices. And you're not going to escape that cycle on your own. And that's how I see it in my own life anyway. I'm not telling you what to believe, but what I believe and what helped me. And you can take it or leave it according to your own choice. But remember, when we're in our darkest moments, we should just head for the light. So yeah, that's my Gollum video. With this out of the way, I'll make a video on Space Marines and my experience in Ukraine. Because yeah, in case you guys missed my last video, which you probably did since not many watched it, I was in Ukraine this past month, volunteering at a hospital there, which is why I was away from YouTube. I learned a lot from those amazing people that I was working alongside with and developed some ideas I wish to share with you guys. Anyway, thank you all for listening to my ramblings. Have a good day, my friends.
This was a pretty good video. I appreciated uh, many of his many of his sources, many of much of his background and understanding, both religious as well as mythological takes. I guess also psychological takes would fall in there for this particular video. Okay, let's go read some of these comments here. As a recurring addict, I think Gollum's dual personalities perfectly displays an aspect of addiction. Back when I was still in the thick of my addiction, it often felt like I was getting possessed. My rational mind would be telling me, no, you don't need it, no more. But another part of my mind that desperately wanted to indulge would fight endlessly to take control of me until I gave in. And then, moments afterwards, my rational mind would be back on the forefront again, feeling so ashamed at my lack of willpower. It felt like a constant battle between the two versions of me, and one of them clearly being the stronger one. I'm so thankful every day I managed to break free. Being a slave to addiction is such a wretched experience. The Golem, oh my goodness, this guy wrote a fucking dissertation over here. The Golem Smeagol dichotomy isn't just symbolic of moral struggle, i.e., between good and evil generally, but also particularly to the grappling of addictions with the inner critic. The inner critic is the voice which grows in the mind of the addict, which is constantly watching and berating the addict. It's the voice that tells the addict, like Gollum to Smeagol, you don't have any friends, nobody likes you. The inner critic assaults the addict with the evidence of their moral failure. You're a liar and a thief, murderer. The interesting thing about the inner critic is that it sounds like the voice of moral guidance, only it's dripping in malice. Its intention is to hurt and humiliate, not to steer the the addict, i.e., Smeagol, on the straight and narrow. The inner critic is trying to demolish the addict's sense of moral self-worth, to the point that it is low enough that they will agree and debase themselves by relapsing. Often, addicts will try to shut down their inner critic, rebelling like a teenager, almost like Smeagol does to Gollum. This only works temporarily, if at all. To disarm the critic and liberate ourselves from addiction, we have to take responsibility for our actions and feelings, accept our shame, and share our shame. We have to connect with others and hope for salvation in something bigger than ourselves. We must learn to genuinely love and forgive ourselves and to accept and celebrate imperfect improvements. When we do get better, we must ultimately have mercy on others struggling with the same problems. It was Frodo's mercy which proved decisive in the destruction of the ring. We cannot help the Smeagols of the world by condemning them like Gollum does to Smeagol. We must aspire to be Frodo. Yep, that sounds basically about what it seems to be. I think we need to find more mythological stories and characters and the heroic figures, so that we can I can look at other sources of ancient stories and ancient archetypes, because I think that's definitely a super cool way of doing it. Both having an internal struggle and having it manifest externally. I think that's one of the things I'm currently trying to to deal with when it comes to a certain character who I'm trying to write. And so maybe later, at some point, we'll get a better like a closer deep dive into what this kind of character um, has available in terms of archetypes. Okay, next video.
Welcome once again to Leto's Law. Here's Steve Leto.
I've been to Europe a couple times, so I've got a passport. And passports famously are good for about 10 years. I believe it's 10 years. And after 10 years, you renew it and you get another one. And passports are kind of cool because it's a little record of where you've gone. And they stamp it and you can flip through there and see the stamps from different countries. It's kind of nice. But a woman ran into an issue, and I was not aware of this. And Steven sent me notes, and Steve, check this out. Donovan Smoot wrote this for In the Know by Yahoo News. Woman not allowed to fly internationally despite having 6 months until her passport expired. It's so crazy that your passport expires before it expires. So there's a date on your passport that says here's when it expires. And so you think to yourself, well, as long as it's not expired, I can travel, right? Now, you wouldn't want to travel the day before it expires because then when you're overseas, your passport expired, you have trouble. Oh, your passport's expired. But she was traveling someplace.
I think I lost one of my archers. Where the heck did he go? I don't think I lost him as in he died. I think he's here somewhere in the trees, but I can't find him. What's up, buddy? What happened?
With 6 months left on her passport, and she wasn't planning on being gone that long. And it turns out she wasn't allowed to use that passport for her purposes. So a woman recently went viral after being turned away from her international flight because her passport was going to expire. She had several months before it officially expired, but she told about how she and her family had planned a trip to celebrate her mother's birthday. And so they'd been planning this for quite some time. But she was told that if she didn't get a brand new passport within 24 hours, she'd then not be able to go on her trip. So she's at the airport, she's going along, and they go, oh, your passport's going to expire in 6 months. You cannot get on this flight. And so here's what's happening. Her passport was set to expire after her flight date, obviously. But there are some countries that require your passport to be valid for at least 6 months beyond the dates of the trip. So apparently her passport would have expired within 6 months of a portion of her trip. The United States has signed an agreement with several countries to waive this stipulation and let people fly as long as their passport's good for the dates of their trip. However, there are still nations that enforce this rule, such as China. So the thinking of some countries is that you might fly there with only 6 months on your passport, and even though your trip is only set for a week or two, you might
What the heck? This kitty keeps trying to get my food. I gotta go take it to the sink. Otherwise, she's gonna eat my food. It's mine. It's not you. Now this kid's just sitting on my desk. What the heck? I don't even think you'll be able to see her. Oh, I can see her a little bit. She's over here. She's over here. She's over here. Why are you trying to eat the, Why are you trying to eat the bell for? What happened? What is it? What happened? She bit me. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. What happened? What is it?
Stay that and run into trouble. Now, I'm not sure who's going to overstay their visit to China by 5 months, but you know, this stipulation was news to many people who thought that you had until the expiration date on the passport before it actually expired. And I'll admit, I was one of them. And somebody commented and said, "It's so crazy, your passport expires before it expires." "You're all acting like this is a well-known bit of information," replied somebody else. Now, the woman had no choice but to try and get a new passport the next day. And that turned out to be something she could do, but it was an adventure and an expensive one. Her local passport agency had no available appointments, so she had to fly to Buffalo to meet with someone who said they could get her a same-day passport.
From what I recall, I also saw that there were no passport appointments available when I was trying to get my most recent one. And I showed up without an appointment. And I think because I was there as soon as they opened, basically, that the person who does the passports was willing to take the time to accept my application, even though for policy reasons and for COVID reasons, I technically wasn't shouldn't have been allowed. But I'm pretty sure the application the appointment thingies are mostly there as a recommendation and to try to limit how many people show up at a time. I don't really think it has much to do with actual restrictions in regards to how many passports can be done at a time. It's just like to limit the foot traffic there at the time.
She was able to secure the passport, and then she booked a flight to meet up with her family and get to the airport. She actually made it in time to join them for the rest of the trip. When she got there, though, she had another problem because the airline had lost her luggage. So she had to make that executive decision. Do you get on the flight knowing your luggage might not be on the plane? Or do you poke around till they find it? So she has not posted a follow-up on this yet, but she's concerned that this vacation might be one of those vacations from hell, which, by the way, is a town in Michigan. There's a town in Michigan called Hell. There's also a town in Michigan called Paradise. And as people like to point out, you can actually drive from one to the other in the course of one day.
Yes, this is very true.
But this brings to mind so many wacky travel stories.
Wacky?
But I will tell you that U.S. passports, I have one, and I've traveled. In fact, I've actually had a couple, meaning I had one and it expired, and I got another one, that kind of thing. And I've been all over the place. I've been to Europe a couple times. I've been to a bunch of different island countries in the Caribbean and so on. And also nowadays you have to use it when you go to Canada. But in the old days, you go to Canada, they just wave you through, but that was long before 9/11. But I can also tell you that
I'm pretty sure I've heard from people that you can just like drive by if there's nobody there, because a lot of times there's nobody there at the border crossings between the U.S. and Canada. If it's a particularly remote border crossing, that is, which seems to make sense to me.
that there was a time when traveling in Europe, if you had an American passport, they would quite often just wave you through the line. And it happened more than once. And so there would be a country, and you'd be passing through immigration, and they'd have signs, and it would actually say, U.S. passports here, or U.S. passport holders here, and they actually have 2 or 3 different designations, depending on what country you're in or what country you're coming from and going to. And I remember getting in line, and U.S. passports are dark blue, and other countries, of course, are other colors, as you know from watching The Bourne Identity. And you have your blue passport.
No, I know this. I know that passports are different colors from playing Papers, Please. That's how I know that passports are different colors.
Passport in your hand, and I can think of at least 2 borders I crossed where I had it in
2 burgers? What?
my hand, ready to hand it to somebody. And as I got to the front, the guy just waves us through. And apparently, they've decided that was an okay thing to do. I know people who said that happened to them, and they're like, "But could you at least stamp this? Because I like having the stamps. And so the funny part was being waved through did not have the stamp indicating it passed through that location. So I don't know if that could cause trouble elsewhere. It never did.
You didn't have a stamp that indicated that you passed through a port? What the heck?
It never did. But I have told the story before, I think.
Okay, I might have to end here. Or actually no. I don't have to end, but I have to, I think, stop playing because Patches is now wide awake and she is not letting me use the mouse as freely as I would like to. So what I might do, I might pull out the Harry Potter and start reading a little bit. And I think maybe once we're done with Harry Potter, I'll go ahead and play with her because that seems to be what she wants to do right now.
About traveling to England a couple of years ago. And my travel partner, we got there and went to baggage claim, and my bags came out, and their bags did not come out. And so went and checked over at the airline help desk, and they said, "Oh, we have a problem." Nowadays, all the bags have got scan tags on them and stuff. And they go, "Your bag is back in Texas." And of course, Texas, that's not where we were. We were in England for 9 days, and the bags joined us on our trip the second to last day of the trip. And called the airline every single day and was repeatedly lied to by the airline. And so...
What? You're repeatedly lied to? By pencil pushers? I don't believe this. This sounds like an unrealistic story. I choose to disbelieve.
At one point in time, I got on the phone and they said, "Oh, your bags are in London and they'll be put on a taxi and brought to your hotel. You'll have them in an hour." So we wait an hour because we foolishly think the bags are showing up. Bags never show up. So a couple hours later, I call back and they go, "Oh, your bag is in Miami." I said, "Well, wait. The last time I called, they said it was in a taxi in England, in London." Who told you that? You guys
can't
did.
see.
Now, of course, you get a different person each time you call. And here's a pro tip, by the way. I was calling the airlines people in England for help. And I found out I got better help, although it wasn't very useful, but I got better help if I called the number back in America from England. And the ironic part of this is that it was British Air. British Air. And I found out that if I called the British Air number in America, I got more responsive conversations. I was lied to repeatedly. They'd say, "Your bags are on a taxi right now headed to your hotel." And then a couple hours later, they said, "No, your bags are in Texas." And according to them, the bags were ping-ponging between Texas, Miami, and London, just doing this all day long. And I would love to have actually seen what the computer screen showed as to where those bags actually works. I'm sure they were scanned into the system somewhere. I suspect that they sat in Texas for the entire time. I don't know, but second to last day they showed up at the hotel. But meanwhile, at one point in time, as I was speaking politely with the customer service rep from British Air, I said, "Well, here's the problem. The person to whom those bags belong doesn't exactly have a lot of clothing to travel around in over here, other than..."
Oh, well, it sucks to be you then. Go buy more clothing. That's gonna be the response.
What she was wearing on the plane and what she had in her carry-on. And they said, "Oh, you can go out and shop for clothing and we'll reimburse you."
Okay.
And I said, "For how much?" And the woman said, "We don't actually have a number. It's just got to be reasonable." And they're concerned that if they give you an actual number, you're going to spend right up to it. And they're hoping that when they say it's got to be reasonable, that you will tone it down and probably spend less than they're willing to pay you. I will tell you that we went on a little shopping spree and went over to Covent Gardens, did a little shopping, saved all the receipts. When I got back, I wrote them a letter on my letterhead and said, as per the conversation I had with so-and-so on this date, went out shopping because you guys had misplaced our bags and continually lied to us about it. And so these are the receipts. Reimburse us. Thank you. And I got a check about a week later. So it worked out in that sense, but it was a nightmare. So the real pro tip here is if you're flying internationally, do not put everything you own in the bags that get checked. Because always ask yourself what happens if the checked bags don't show up at the airport with us. And so you're going to want to make sure that you're wearing comfortable shoes on the plane. If not, have some in your carry-on, that kind of thing. So there you go. But here the story is the woman was not allowed to fly internationally because even though her passport was still valid, it was going to expire within 6 months. And some countries will not let you enter their country with a passport that's going to expire that shortly on the thinking that if you overstay it, there's going to be issues that they don't want to deal with. So it's from In the Know by Yahoo News. Donovan Smoot wrote that. Stephen of the PH Senate. Thanks a lot. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for.
Very cool. You should never trust the airplane peoples. Is what I have learned from my experience in watching YouTube videos. Because I have never been on a plane. I've never even seen a plane. I've never even heard a plane. And so this is all very useful information for me to know as somebody who may or may not at some point have to use a plane. Which is quite disconcerting to know.
Your Majesty?
That people whose job it is to look after your thingies and transport them are not looking after your thingies and taking care of them. But I think I've already kind of got that from having been alive for multiple years. That you shouldn't really put your faith in people, whether or not you know them. I think it seems to be quite a foolish decision to make. Okay, I think Patches is done being playful, but I think I'm still gonna go ahead and read some Harry Potter. Or you know what? No, I think I'll do it next time because I typically also do it on Twitch. So I'm gonna go ahead and let there be an opportunity for people to head over here. Since I will be doing only YouTube for a little bit, to run a couple different little experiments, and then we will see if I'm gonna stick to only YouTube or if I'm also gonna continue to do Twitch. Okay. So, thanks for chillin' and Mimi. And for managing to transfer Ogre from Twitch. I think next time I will either reduce to 720 or I'll just stick to YouTube. That is yet to be decided. What I might also do is just run a couple of different tests on different accounts, and maybe that that will help give me some intel on whether or not streaming on both platforms could be doable. Okay, so good luck, have fun tonight, don't be stupid. And as always, I'm gonna have to move this around here. If I do center. There, okay, this should work. And as always, I will see you next time. Bye bye.